Hello and welcome to Offstage. My name is Shamane Bia, and in this episode, we will be talking to the very talented rock, blues, and folk artist Kenny Hughes. Hello, Kenny. Welcome to your episode of Offstage.
Chamonix, how are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. And how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
To be honest, I'm very surprised that you got my name right first off, because a lot of people is like Charmone or Charmaine. So thank you.
I did my research, yeah.
Thank you. So, Kenny, you are a rock, blues, folk artist. So that's quite a lot of stuff to have under like your name. And I just want to know, how did it start out for you?
It definitely started out more of the bluesy feel. That's definitely where it came from. I basically grew up listening to Dire Straits mostly, and a lot of Eric Clapton, because that's what my dad listens to, and my uncle. And so, yeah, I always had the blues influence. That's definitely where it started for me. But I don't know, like as you spend the years jamming and stuff, you develop your own sound, your own unique voice as an artist. And yeah, I mean, it could fit into so many genres at this point that I don't even really know what to call it myself anymore.
That is so cool. So, how did you know? Like, obviously, yes, you said that you listen to a lot of music, but sometimes the kind of music that you listen to is not always the music that you can create. So, how did you know that
Hmm.
this is your calling and that you want to be a blues artist?
Well, long before I knew what blues was even called, I loved it. So I never knew that there was a genre called the blues. So whenever a blues tune would play, I'd be like, that's the sound I like. That's what I want to make. And only much later, like a couple years after I started playing guitar, I actually found out that it's called the blues. And then the floodgates sort of opened. So I don't know, it called me before I called it, you could say.
That's so cool. So, you just mentioned that you were a guitarist. So, before any of that, you were a drummer. Am I right?
Yes.
So, how
Yes.
did you
Yeah. Yeah.
make the
Yeah.
transition between like drums and guitar?
It's actually a pretty cool story. So what happened was the guy that was teaching me drums at that stage, I started playing drums when I was 9 years old. And so he gave lessons in everything. So he taught drums, bass, a little bit of keyboard, guitar, obviously. And what he did with all his students at the end of every year was he would divide them up into bands according to their skill level. And he would arrange a concert where each band would play one song, maybe two songs. And then it would basically be a showcase for the parents and stuff so they could see what their kids had been up to the whole year. So I was the drummer in one of these bands. Rain Jacket with a Hole in It was our name. And so we played Have You Ever Seen the Rain by Creedence. And I just remember watching the guitarist and thinking that dude is having a whole lot more fun than I am behind this drum kit. So I asked my mom, can I please start taking guitar lessons? And she said, yeah, sure, we'll look at it next year. And when the time came around for me to go for my first drum lesson for the year, I was on our first floor, she was on the second floor, and I asked her to bring my drumsticks down so we could go for my lesson. And instead of walking down the stairs with my drumstick, she walked down with my dad's acoustic and said, you're starting guitar today. So that's basically how it happened, man.
That is so cool that your mom was so open to it. Because I know not most parents, but some parents don't really support the artist like industry and the fact that people want to do it because obviously for them it's like there's no money in the industry. So I think that's so awesome that your parents were so accepting of this.
Yeah. So basically, I've got an older sister. She's 5 years older than I am. And my mom pushed her into the piano side of things. And I wouldn't say forced her, but definitely had a firm hand with you have to sit down and practice now for an hour. And then my sister did it and she loathed it. She really didn't like doing it. So I think when it came around to my turn, my mom was like, okay, let me try a different approach. Let me just see what he wants to do and let him do it. If he wants to play guitar, he'll play guitar. If he wants to play drums, he'll play drums. So I do have the most amazing parents. I really, really do. All credit to them.
That is so cool. And obviously, shout out to them for being such amazing parents and helping you pursue this. So
Yeah.
after school, did you ever go study music, or what was your journey like after school?
Well, right after school, I actually started selling insurance, if you can believe it. So I sold insurance for 2 years, and it was basically sitting in a cubicle every day behind a computer every day, and it just slowly killed me. And I had to get out. So I quit that job and I started teaching guitar. And although it was a lot more along the lines of what I wanted to do, because it was a lot closer to music already, I mean, it was music already, it just didn't feel quite right yet. And so I started the gigging thing. I had a band for a little while, a trio, and we did a couple gigs and all that type of stuff. And it was really cool. But the first solo show I did, which was actually an open mic night at Class in Hatfield, I realized, cool, this is it. I'm going to pursue this. I'm going to see where this goes. And eventually I stopped the teaching and I just went full time into music and I haven't looked back.
So obviously you just mentioned
Yeah.
that you were in a band and now that you're a solo artist. So what would you say you enjoy the most? Because obviously there's a lot of responsibility that goes into both kind of musical ways, so with a band and being a solo artist. But what was, or which one do you enjoy the most?
I'd have to say solo. I definitely enjoy solo. It gives me a lot more freedom. So from a gigging standpoint, it's a lot easier to book a gig for a solo artist than it is for a band because solo guys can fit in anywhere. You know what I mean? I can go play a coffee shop gig, or I can go play a gig at Class or at Railways Cafe, or I can go jam at a festival. It's very versatile. Whereas with a band, there's no band that's going to go play in a coffee shop. You know what I mean? It's too much. So logistics around being in a band makes it very difficult. And also it's like the age old saying, like, too many cooks spoil the broth. Like as soon as you have more than one person in a band, you have more than one opinion. So you're never going to do exactly what you want to do. It's always going to be a sort of a compromise. You know what I mean? And that's beneficial in a lot of ways. But I don't know. For right now, I kind of like my freedom.
Of course, because I mean, also, I know that you're a big fan of stand-up comedy, and your way of that is anybody that can capture an entire room with one microphone, like that's amazing. And I think that's kind of the same way for you as well, because you capture an entire room with your instruments and one microphone.
The cool thing for me, though, is like my guitar acts as a shield. So if I run out of things to say, or if I don't know which song to sing next, I can just lay down a chord progression on my looper and I can solo over it a little bit. And then, it's sort of like a buffer. Whereas I don't know if you've probably watched the Kevin Hart show or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, like he walks out on stage in front of thousands of people with a mic in his hand. He starts and doesn't stop for like an hour and a half. That's madness. Okay, that is next level self-confidence. That's a real talent. Like, I don't know. I really don't know how those guys do it. It's so cool to watch.
Right. I always imagine, like, how do you remember everything? Like, because the
Hmm.
jokes are like quite lengthy, but it's like, how do you, like, you circle back and you still capture the entire room with that joke?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, obviously they've practiced their craft a lot, but it's beyond that. Like, how do you remember a script of an hour and a half long without getting tripped up? You know what I mean? It's crazy. I don't know how they do it. I'd love to sit down with a stand-up comic who's been doing it for at least like 10 years and just really pick his brain a little. I think we can learn a lot from them. Like any performer can learn a lot from a guy that's got that charisma on stage. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, with that also being said,
Mhm.
how did you get your confidence to perform solo on stage?
Oh, I don't think I have yet. It started off a lot worse than it is now. Like the first time you get on stage is petrifying, you know what I mean? But I started actually playing in a church band when I was about, I think, 16. And I did that for a few years. So that definitely got a lot of practice in for me, being in front of an audience, and best practice you could ask for. I mean, you're with on stage with like 8 other musicians, and everyone has their space and their thing that they have to handle. So I'm very grateful for those years that I played in that band.
Of course. So, you also mentioned something about the fact that when you're a solo artist, you are in control of everything, and there's Not too many like fingers in the pie, if we can say it like that. I don't know if that's just an Afrikaans expression, but if not, all of the English people are
No,
learning that today.
no, it's exactly that. It's exactly that. So yeah, it gives you a lot more creative freedom to see what works, see what doesn't, and then you take it from there.
Exactly. So, how would you say is your writing process? Because obviously now you have to do that solo. And is there ever a point where you would go to a different musician or even a friend and just be like, listen, I've written this, I don't know, it needs something?
I love sharing my brand new songs with my close friends. I love doing that. And the reason I love doing that is because I trust their opinions. So if I've got this chord progression in my head that I think sounds really cool, I can go to my buddy and he can tell me, yeah, that is really cool. So he can confirm it for me. Or he could say, you know what, dude, I think it's a bit slow. You can maybe just speed it up a little. And they don't necessarily take over the writing process at all. I just listen to their opinion and then work from there. But my writing process is actually quite simple, sort of. So what I do is I would sit with my guitar and it's usually the music that comes first. So I would, like I said, think of a chord progression and play it and play over and over a little bit. And then eventually I start, it's like the words, the lyrics start building up in my head on their own. So what I do then is I put my phone on record and I just play for 5 minutes. I play that chord progression for 5 minutes and I sing random things. And then I go back and listen to that recording and then I just pick out the pieces that I really liked. And then that gives me a good foundation. And then from there, I just build it up until it's a finished product.
That's really a cool process because obviously, I think for most people, that is kind of the process that they do follow. But also with the process that you've just mentioned, you quite recently released, I don't know if that was today because I saw it on Devo's social media today, but you recently released a new song and the song's name is Overcome. So, what was it like writing that song and what would you say that kind of drove that song?
I actually wrote the song a while ago. I wrote the song February of last year when I just moved to Bloemfontein. So I was sitting in my room, well, my new room, very unfamiliar territory for me. And I had boxes that were still unpacked and everything. And it was raining outside. It was actually raining when I pulled up to this place. So I had to carry all my stuff through the mud. Oh, it was terrible. Chamonix, I cannot tell you. It was such a bad day. Anyway, so I'm sitting on my bed. And like I said, I started with a chord progression. And, well, actually with the opening riff. Whatever. So I started playing that, and then the lyrics sort of just came to me, and it's I mean, we've all been through breakups, right? That's I'm not the only guy who's been broken up with or done some breaking up. So that's what came to me is like I'm sitting here alone in this new unfamiliar territory, and I could have had a girlfriend with me, but we broke up. So all that stuff bubbled to the surface, and I don't know, it's the song wrote itself, really.
That is like, I think that is so important that you also mentioned all of this because it relates to most people because everybody has been through a heartbreak. And if you haven't been, good luck because it's not
Yeah,
easy.
dude, it's gonna hit you hard if you haven't yet.
Exactly. That's nie lekker nie. So I
Dis
think
glad nie lekker nie.
I think it's so cool because a lot of people can resonate with the song and kind of find something that's familiar to them and a situation. And I mean, if it doesn't correlate with them with a heartbreak, it still can find them in a place where you've just moved out, you are now like on your own, you are starting your own adventure. So that song doesn't just speak for one person, it speaks to so many.
Yeah, I actually met a guy in Bloemfontein who now lives in Durban. His name is Francois. And he told me after he had heard the song, he came to one of my gigs at Scarlet Room in Bloemfontein. And he asked me, dude, can you please just play that song? And I jammed it for him. And then afterwards, he told me that he just got out of a really bad breakup and he put the song on repeat. And yeah, it really helped him. So to answer your question of just now, by the way, I totally forgot. I did not release it today. The song released originally last year already, but it was only on YouTube. And now recently, I think it was in the last week or so, it was finally uploaded to Spotify. So that's that story as well.
So, if I'm allowed to ask, why did it take you quite a while to release it on different platforms as well?
Well, to be totally honest, it's was done by a group of guys called Hidden Track Sessions, and they maintained control over the track, if I could put it that way. I mean, obviously, I had control over it. I could have released it at any time. I just thought, you know what, it is on YouTube. It's already there. I wasn't 100% satisfied with a song. Like, to me, a song is never finished. It's just ever abandoned. And so eventually they just took the leap of faith for me and said, you know what, dude, we're posting it and you're just going to deal with it. And I was like, all right, fine. Just upload it. It's fine. Just do it. I was done for me, basically.
But that's still okay because at least it's out there now and a lot of people can kind of resonate with it. So that's really cool. And I mean, to many artists that I have spoken to, they were like, we were never really sure, should we release it? Because obviously you put your name to it and people are going to remember you by
Definitely.
that song. So you don't want to put out something and then people are like, what is the, like, this is not good. Why would you put it out?
Now, well, you see, the thing is, like, if you were to ask any up and coming artist that's about to release a song, if are you completely happy with this? So if you're putting this out now, today, you're not going to listen to it and think, I could have done that better. I could have done that better. I could have done that better. Because if they say, yes, I can put it out and be totally happy, then that person is a liar. I guarantee it. Because you're always going to be listening back to your track and thinking, listen to that. I could have done that so much better. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's just me. I believe it's everyone.
I personally believe it is anybody. So, or not anybody, it's everyone. Sorry. So if you could perform with either Dan Patlansky or Albert Frost, who would you choose? Because I know that they're your favorites, but as jy een moet kies, who would you choose?
See, the reason that's so difficult to answer is because, like, I think it was maybe 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago already, I was at Misty Waters. I don't know if you've heard of Misty Waters, Chamonix.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
Okay,
heard
well,
here and there about it and the band speaking about it, but I've never been.
oh, well, we'll definitely make a plan to go next time there is a Misty Waters. Anyway, so what happened was Albert Frost played at around 7 o'clock and Dan Pedlansky played at 10 o'clock. And both of those shows absolutely blew my mind. Okay, I couldn't believe what I was bearing witness to. And so the very next day, so this was the Saturday that they played. The very next day on Sunday, I had to open for Albert Frost at Railways Cafe. And again, he blew my mind. So they're both so good. Shamana, you can't ask me these difficult questions. You can't put me in this situation, man. That's not fair, dude. I didn't do this to you.
So obviously,
But,
so if you can have like a trio with them, then obviously yes.
No praye. No praye.
So
Yeah, that would be sick. That'd be so fun.
I know this is like a very random story, but I haven't told anybody this because I feel like it's weird, and I've never met Dan.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
I've heard about him. I listen to his music, and for me, it's like I really want to interview him. But my
Mm-hmm.
story is so I've always wanted a Leatherman, and I know it sounds weird, but I'm a technician. I need a Leatherman. That's like
That
you
makes a lot
either
of
choose
sense, yeah.
water or a Leatherman. It's like a Leatherman, obviously.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
So
Super serious.
so my mom came to me the other day with like this teeny tiny little leather bed, and the
Oh,
name of it
nice.
is Lansky, and I was like, it's
Oh,
made. I have
it's a
to call
sign.
it Dad. So I'm like,
It's a sign. Dan Delansky. Dude, I love it, man.
I don't know
That's
if people
awesome, dude.
name their Leathermans, but I was like, this is Dan, and we shall refer to it as Dan.
Oh, that's so great, dude. Thank you for sharing that with me. I really appreciate it.
I'm so glad that I could finally
Now,
get that off my chest because that het my geplaagd. It was really heavy.
see, at least now I know I'm not the only weirdo on this podcast tonight. So that's great. We're
I'm
off to a
glad.
great start here.
Yeah, I'm glad we could just like unite and be like, okay, we're together, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So when is our first battle, dude? When are we going out and conquering the world, huh?
Yeah,
As this
just being
weird duo
weird.
that we've formed.
Well, we are on level 1 now, so I mean we can arrange. But I saw on your Instagram that are you at the sea at the moment? Not in Bloemfontein?
No, I moved out of Bloemfontein in Feb. And the reason I moved out of Bloemfontein was because I was supposed to tour Mozambique for 3 months. And I got to Mozambique. Tour had literally just kicked off, and we had one gig. And then the call came through and said, yeah, dudes, you guys need to get back here because Thursday, that shit's getting shut down, and then you're not going anywhere. So we were there for a week, and then we had to come back. Unfortunately, tour got cut short. Because it's locked down. Yeah. I was so upset. I was actually with a very good mate of mine, Peter Erasmus, also a fantastic musician. We were there together, and the night before we came back, we were at a place called The Whaler there in Mozambique, and we were sitting there drinking a couple beers, and the vibe was so melancholic because everyone that was there was going to be staying there except for Peter and I, and they knew that we wanted to stay with them so badly, but it was just too uncertain. We couldn't, and we had to leave. And so the whole vibe was very somber, and it was a bad time, dude. Very bad time. So anyway, got back eventually. Quite a cool story as well, actually. At the border post, we got to the border at 1:30. Okay, so we got through the border, say 1:45, and then at 2:00 they shut it down. So anyone after that had to go spend 2 weeks in Maputo in quarantine before they could come back. So we literally just made it.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so lockdown, being what it is for artists and musicians and entertainers of all kinds, was sitting without work, obviously no work opportunities at all. And so I headed to the Western Cape here where I am now because this is where my parents live. So I'm with them at the moment until things seem to lighten up.
So obviously you've lived alone for quite a while, and in that time where you live alone, you become your own person, and like you get to know yourself more and you have your own tendencies. So I know that this has nothing to do with music, but would you say that it was difficult?
I don't care.
Would you say that it's difficult adapting to your parents' way again and like having kind of the house rules again where you didn't have them when you were living alone?
Definitely. It was definitely a bit of a adjustment period, I'd have to say. But at the same time, while I was adjusting to being back home, I was also adjusting to the fact that the world is in dismay. So I felt like my problems were pretty small compared to the global issue. You know what I mean? But yes, no, definitely, it was definitely very difficult. I actually live in a flat on the property, on my parents' property. So I'm not in the house with them. So I'm still in my own space very much. And I've got my studio set up here and stuff. So, but yeah, to answer your question, yes, it was very tough going from being completely alone, because I love that, man. I can stay completely on my own for weeks at a time, and which isn't really healthy, I suppose, in hindsight. But yeah, so it was definitely difficult, definitely.
Just a random question. So would you say that you have a lot of patience? Because you have quite long hair. And if we have to be really honest, I think it's longer than what my hair is. But it's okay. I'm not going to cry about this right now. But would you say that with long hair comes a lot of patience?
I'll tell you what, right? When we decide to take over the world with our mutual weirdness, we can measure our hair and see whose is longer. Right? You know what I think personally, right? I think growing a beard takes a lot more patience than growing your hair out, because growing my hair out it's just something I really wanted to do all of a sudden. Like the thought never crossed my mind to grow my hair out. And I actually started spending a bit of time with a good friend of mine, Brendan Bezuidenhout, guitarist for Scarlet Will, amazing rock and roll band, by the way, from Pretoria as well. And he has this long hair, and I sat there looking at him like, dude, I want long hair too, man. So I started growing my hair out, and yeah, now I can't remember a time before long hair. So I don't know. Maybe I'm patient. Maybe I'm not. I still have serious road rage, if that answers anything.
But that's different. That tests you as a person physically, and you're like, who come?
Why am I stuck on Galulis?
Exactly. Why are you driving 90? Come on.
Dude, I need to get home, man. Come on,
Exactly.
dude.
I have a very important chill to attend.
Exactly. I need to go wash my hair, man.
Yeah. It's like one of my very good friends, his name is Ivan, and he is the bassist for the band The Experience, which is based in Joburg. And he has
Okay.
the longest hair. And the other day we were sitting and chatting, and he's like, "Oh yeah, but I cut my hair and it's so short." And I'm like, "Oh, seriously? Look me in the eyes and tell me that you're really sad about the fact that your hair almost touches your bum, and you want to tell me that it's short."
Dude, I actually met The Experience, man. I opened
Really?
for, yeah. I opened for Jeremy Loops last year. And they also opened for Jeremy Loops last year. They were also on the lineup
That
in
is so
Bloemfontein, actually.
insane.
Yeah, dude. So I actually met these guys. And
Nice.
yes, he does have super long hair. It's ridiculous. I was super
Yeah.
jealous. I
So
saw the
so
dude like, dude, you're stealing all my shine, man. Come on.
yeah, make that stuff in a bun. Come on.
Exactly. It'll be a huge bun, so that'd
Yeah.
make me jealous too.
So if you could perform at any festival, which one would you choose first? So after lockdown, if a festival contacts you, which one would you want it to be?
Could it be anyone in the world? Or does it have to be a local festival?
No, no, anyone in the world, but which one would you say has been your biggest dream to perform at?
Hmm. Well, I mean, like you could ask any musician and they'd probably say Woodstock. But being more realistic, because Woodstock isn't really as much of a thing as it was like in the 70s, I'd say Glastonbury in Scotland. That would be nuts. I would love to jam at Glastonbury.
That is such a cool answer because most people are like, no, Misty Waters or Splashy Fin. So I think that's a pretty decent and really good answer.
Thank you. And like, I believe that one day I will play at Glastonbury. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. So, all the local festivals, yes, I obviously want to play them. And I would love to be on the lineup for, well, if Oppie is still going to be going on, then I'd like to be on the lineup for Oppie and Millipop, all these things. But I mean, let's think big, dude. I mean, Glastonbury is like 400,000 people or something. Imagine that vibe. That must be ridiculous. So once I get on that stage, I'll be like, he's here. He made it.
So would you like if you ever would perform there, which we really hope that you do, because then I can be like, I almost took over the world with our weirdness with this fella. So
Dude, I'll just take you with me. How does that sound?
fantastic. Oh my word, that
You
that
can be
would
my
be
technician with your Dan Lansky. How does that sound?
fantastic. Great stuff. We're ready.
I don't know if we could take your Dan Lansky like on a plane, but we'll try. Okay, we'll make a plan.
Tiny. You can't do any real harm.
Yeah, somehow I doubt that, Chamonix. Somehow I doubt that.
Yeah, because I mean I'm from Boxburg, so there might be some
Oh,
flags. Yeah.
oh. She can hold her own, guys. She can hold her own. Back off.
So another
Let me
weird
ask you a
question.
question. Right?
Fantastic.
Let me first ask you a question.
Okay.
When you were 12 years old, did you think that you would one day be interviewing musicians for a podcast?
100%. So
Oh,
that was
really?
actually the age where I realized that I talk a lot and I enjoy talking a
Okay.
lot. And I
Okay.
realized that I wanted to be a radio presenter. So that's kind of where
Okay.
everything started. And I went to study music, not music, I went to study sound engineering. And I was like, but this is not radio. But like, no shit.
Hmm.
This is like where you come to learn how to be a great DJ. And I was like, this, no.
Yeah.
So yes, I did
Not
know
for me.
that this is what I wanted to do. I never knew that it's going to be like this cool and this like out there because I mean I've interviewed like a bunch of really cool bands and gotten to like get really good friends with them. So
Yeah.
it was baie onverwags vir my.
Okay. Oh, well, that's really cool, dude. You know how few people can actually say, like, yeah, I've known what I wanted to do for literally half my life, dude. That's very cool.
Yeah, because I mean it's something that I've always wanted to do, but then I think in like grade 10. So I know, sorry, this is your interview, but I just quickly need to tell another story.
Dude, it's our interview. It's not my interview at all. Let's go.
So I was grade 10, and that's where you choose your subjects for going forward.
Yeah.
And I chose my subjects. It wasn't the best. It was like physics, bio, and geography. Nothing to do with what I do
Okay.
now, but I was like, this is
Mm-hmm.
probably, I can do anything with this. And
Mm-hmm.
I went into the office to go submit my forms, and my English teacher came out and he was like, no, so what do you want to do when you're older? So I said, I wanted to be a radio presenter. And he's like, fantastic. You have the face for radio. And I'm like,
Wow.
okay. Thank you.
How about you step off, yo?
Yeah. I was surfing and I was like, I don't know. Thanks.
He's totally wrong, by the way. Okay, you are gorgeous.
Thank
Don't
you.
listen to that dude at all. Don't let that affect you in any way.
No, it actually kind of motivated me because, I was like, you know what? Nobody
Beautiful.
sees me when I'm behind stage, so I can chill there in my pajamas. Maybe I don't even
Exactly,
have to brush
dude.
my teeth. You're never going to know. So that's fine.
Dude, maybe I don't even have pants on right now. You're never gonna know.
Exactly. This is a question that will
Wonderful.
ever be like in the air. Like, did Kenny wear pants?
What was Kenny stark naked, or was it still too cold in the Western Cape?
Yeah.
We'll never know.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it, man.
So, what would you say is your dream place to live in? Because I mean, you've lived in Bloemfontein and now in the Western Cape. So, in South Africa, what would you say is your dream place to live in?
In South Africa, that's a really good question. I would say where I was this weekend, and where I was this weekend was at a good mate of mine, Fulru. They are temporarily living in the penthouse suite at the Diaz Strand Hotel. So that's like the 12th floor overlooking the ocean. It's, yeah, I'd say that's a really good choice for me. I love the ocean. So being able to see that much of it all the time, that sounds good.
That's so cool. And obviously, you've quite recently learned how to surf because that's also something that you've wanted to do. And now you have the opportunity to do that.
Well, I haven't learned how to surf. I've learned how to not drown. Like, yeah, like the surfing part of things that I'm still getting to, dude. That's gonna take a while, but I can at least like, like lay on the board if that counts. I don't know.
On sand or in the water, at least.
Uh, does it matter? No, I'm sorry. No, in the water at least. In the water at least. I can catch a wave. I just can't like 100% stand up yet. So I'm working on it though. It's a work in progress.
It sounds like you're doing really great for someone that wants to do stand-up surfing.
Yeah. I don't think so. Like, you should see it. It's a lot worse than I'm making it sound. I look useless and I know it, but it's fine because it's fun.
That's okay. At least you haven't drowned. And that's all that we can be thankful for. You're at least enjoying it. And luckily, during quarantine, people can do stuff that they're not really good at, and no one will know that this has been the procedure.
Exactly. The only other person that was there was the dude that was teaching me. He's like in his late 50s, been surfing since he was 7. So he's seen all types, and he told me, it's okay. It's okay that you fall the whole time. It's fine. Eventually you'll get it. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, if you say so, dude. So he's the only one that knows about my embarrassment.
So you don't think that he has like video footage of like this was his 20th class and he still can't stand it? Yeah, but
Imagine that, dude. I never saw a GoPro. So if he had one, it was very strategic.
yeah, then he can use the video. He deserved it because he was so sneaky
Dude,
about
you don't even have to pay me any royalties. Just take it and sell it
it.
as far as it will go.
You have quite a lot of pets and you're an animal lover. So what kind of animals do you have that keep you company at home?
Well, at the moment, I only have 2 puppies. Well, they're not puppies anymore, but I mean, they'll always be puppies to me. So we got Ebony, and she's a Vorswinky, and she's like really chubby and black, obviously. That's why her name's Ebony. And I have a Yorkie, affectionately known as Zeus, and he is a speed demon. You should check this dog run, dude. It's crazy. And all he wants to do all day, every day, is just have someone play fetch with a tennis ball. That's what he lives for.
That is so cute because I also have a Yorkie and a Vorshi, but the two of them made an executive decision to have a baby together. It's the ugliest dog you will ever see.
Dude,
like this lilac.
that's weird though, because like they had dogs too, like mine had dogs too, like puppies too. They were really cute. So I don't know what went wrong with your batch, dude.
I don't know. It was probably like the humidity in Boxburg that was just like, we're not having this.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. And we decided because
Shame.
the dog is so ugly, we're like, your name is Pete. That's what
Your name is Pete.
yeah,
You look like a pig to me. That is
exactly.
so rude, dude. Shame, Charbonnet. How
Yeah,
is that
shame.
fair, dude?
Well, to be
First, you
very
go
fair,
around asking me these incredibly difficult questions, like who would I rather play with, Albert Frost or Dan Plans? I mean, come on. And then you go calling your ugly dog Pete because he deserves it. Like, wow.
to be
This
very
interview has taken a
fair,
weird turn, okay?
to be very fair, my mom wanted to call him nuisance. And I'm like, what?
Oh,
Ne? I was like,
okay.
that's no. Why would you call a dog a nuisance? Like, yes, he is, but no. You don't call a dog
The thing
nuisance.
is, like, wat is die afkorting daarvoor?
I don't know. She saw the so there's a statue in Simonstown of that dog nuisance.
I
And
did not know that.
yeah, there's like a whole statue on top of like a koppie or something. And she's like, this is a perfect name. Like, yes, this is what I'm
Wow.
gonna call my dog. And I'm like, how do you yell that? Because obviously when you choose a name for anybody, you have to yell it. And be like, yes, I can yell
Yeah.
this. How do you yell
Yes.
nuisance?
Well, I don't know. Like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around why did this dog named Nuisance get a statue? What? Like, how good of a nuisance could you be to get a
Exactly.
statue?
You're such a great nuisance. Let's build you something. No, I think his
Yeah,
story
that's
was he helped sailors and he was the dog of one of a very important sailor. I want to say Jan van Riebeeck, but I know it's not him. But
okay.
I can just assume that he was a very important person's dog and he waited at the docks every day for his owner to return.
Oh, how cool is that, dude? Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Thank you for teaching me that. Wow.
I hope you visit the statue while living on that side.
I'm gonna have to. To be totally honest, though, I don't even know where Simonstown is. So I'm first gonna Google Maps it, and then I'm gonna have to. Dude, I am terrible at directions. I am absolute rubbish at directions, dude.
Oh no. And Cape Town doesn't have the easiest routes to start with.
No. So Google Maps all the way. If I don't have Google Maps, I'm staying right where I am. I'll wait here until someone comes and fetches me.
Just hug a
I'll send
tree.
you a location. Yeah, dude, that's exactly it. I'll chain myself to the tree. Otherwise, I get stolen as well, like everything else in Cape Town.
Yeah. So, what is the worst that you've ever gotten lost? So, obviously taking the wrong off ramp or whatever.
Oh, dude. Okay, so oh man, I was chauffeur to my sister's bulldog this one day, right? So my sister was at work and I had to take her bulldog to the vet and back home. Simple, easy. Anyone could have done this, right? It's just to the vet and home. It's almost a straight line. And at some point on the way back, I was a little unsure of where I'm going. So I put on my GPS. And you know how GPS doesn't take you the best route? It just chooses the shortest route, and then that's the route you take. Well, I got stuck in this, let's just call it a really bad neighborhood, okay? And I think the only thing that saved me was the fact that I had a bulldog on my passenger seat. So everyone was like, okay, never mind the fact that this dude's driving a really nice blue City Golf that we all want really badly. He's got a dog on that seat, so I'm just going to leave him alone. And like Luna was the bulldog's name. She was the most amazing dog. I'll send you a photo of her, right? And she's had this really mean expression like most bulldogs. So I'm pretty sure Luna saved my life that day. So we're even because I saved her life by taking her to the vet. But anyway, we're even. All well. All is well.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get even with a dog, that was the day.
That would be it. Yes, that would be a prime example of dues paid. Okay.
So,
She couldn't give me petrol money, but she gave me protection, and that's all I needed. Eh?
exactly. At least she didn't drool in your car or like urinate in your car. She was well behaved.
Listen, who said that? Who said anything about well-behaved? I just said she protected me.
So
She drooled everywhere, Chamonix.
Oh,
Everywhere. I should
it
have
is a
taken photos.
bulldog.
I would have sent you those photos as well. It is a bulldog. I mean, it's not her fault.
Yeah.
They tend to slobber a little. It's out of their control.
It's not a little. Let's not lie to
No,
ourselves
it's
and the
not a
listeners
little.
this bio.
This baya, bro. We're talking half a cup at least. Ugh, it's quite gross, eh? You went there, dude. You opened that can of worms, Chamonix. You opened it.
I don't know why I do this to myself and to you, actually.
Actually.
So, sorry, I just choked on my own spit. I don't know how
Wow,
that even happens.
That's attractive, Chamonix. Wow.
There was no time to like actually mute it because I was there and the cough was like, nah.
It happens, dude. This actually reminds me of another question I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Because I was listening to a couple of the episodes today as per your request. And I mean, I'm a good guy, so I do these things, right?
Thank you.
Damsel in distress and all. What is up with the fact that you don't drink beer?
Well, I don't know. I've never grew fond of it. For me, it tastes weird. There's just too much happening at the same time, and it tastes like so much, but also nothing. It tastes like soda water. So I don't know. I really hate it, and it's weird because my surname is Beer. So a lot of people are like,
exactly. Dude, that would have been so perfect.
Right?
But unfortunately, I was disappointed when I heard that. Because I really like even before we spoke, like we had a really good rapport going just because like I liked what I was hearing and I liked what I was seeing and everything. And then she drops this bombshell of she doesn't drink beer. I'm like, what? This is unacceptable. This will not stand.
So is this what's happening now? Am I like receiving that session of like, hoekom drink jy?
Hierdie is jou uitkak sessie, Chamonix.
However, I don't know if this is like the greatest story to tell, but there was one day where I drank an entire black label by myself and I was really proud of it. But I was also, I was really smashed, to be honest. We got home.
Off of one black label?
No, this is pre-black label.
Thank goodness.
So it was kind of during lockdown. And we went to my friend's house and we drank there and then we got back and my friend's like, yeah, do you want a black label? And I was like, if there's any day that I would try it, it might as well just be today. So
no. You said, yeah, sure, like, yeah,
exactly. So she gave it to me and I took a sip and I was like, ooh, does it taste great? But I mean, I'm not going to be ungrateful. I'll drink it. Dis iets om te drink voordat jy gaan slaap. And after a while, I was like, does one drink beer really warm? It's like, but this beer is warm. It's like, oh yeah, I took it out of the cupboard.
Oh my goodness, dude.
The only day that I decide to drink beer, you choose to give
and she gives you a warm one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unacceptable as well. You need new friends.
Yeah. I'll tell them, listen, this friendship is not working. You gave me warm beer.
Sorry, dude, you gave me warm beer. It is so totally over. You have no idea. You have no idea how far out of my life you are right now.
I don't drink beer, but this is unacceptable.
You're the reason I will never drink another beer. How about that?
Exactly. So the very last question that I have for you, because this has been really fun. And I mean, I have so much weird questions, but unfortunately podcast episodes, they don't allow it to be like more than 40 minutes. So we'll just do like another episode somewhere down the line. But my very last question.
Like we're going to have to.
Yes, there's still a lot to uncover. So the last question that I have for you is, who would you say is Kenny Hughes when he is not on stage and not busy riding each wave that comes his way?
Kenny Hughes is a recluse and he's quirky and eccentric and a little bit weird by anyone's definition of the word. But I am undeniably myself. And that's all there is to it now.
That was a great answer. So thank you so much for your time and thank you for asking me questions. I've never been in a situation where someone asked me questions And it was a lot of fun. And it
See,
was so much
that's
fun.
just not fair.
And it was a lot of fun talking to you and getting to know you. And I really hope that we can be weird when lockdown is completely over and we're allowed to travel again.
I tell you what, Chamonix, I will take you out for a beer. How does that sound?
Fantastic. Can we go to the beer house? Because I heard that they have like cranberry beer and like all this weird stuff.
Dude, I will take you anywhere you want to go. We can definitely go to the beer house.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Awesome, dude. Thank you very much. What a great interview.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chamonix. Best of luck with Offstage podcast. It's really, really cool. I checked out some of the episodes and I'm definitely going to check out the rest. So yeah, keep up the good work.